today. So every day we start fresh because we can't affect the past, but we damn sure can make a difference today.
Welcome to episode 33 of Shop Talk. It's Jennifer.
It's Kari.
And tonight we have our amazing friend, Nikki.
Hello, hello.
You've definitely heard her on here before. She's filled in for each of us. But tonight we have her joining us both to cover the season 1 finale and season 2 premiere, since it's winter hiatus. And, we figured, why not? Let's cover 2 episodes. So, yeah. We have some news, not a whole lot, but one of our listeners, Gail, had DM'd us some screenshots from Erin Cummings' Instagram page, and it in her caption it mentioned that she was on the set of The Rookie and she was working with Nathan and Makia, and then she shared that her episode will air on February 27th, and we don't know anything else about the character other than she's awesome. So that's something to look forward to.
Yeah.
I don't know who that actress is, so
neither do I.
Yeah.
I feel like I might have heard the name, but I don't know of any of her other work, if she has a body of work or what.
I like to stay surprised with certain things. So yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
And then Eric and Rosalind have a new podcast episode that dropped today. So be sure to check that out. And that's about it for the news. There wasn't very much. So because we have such a long outline, I think we should just dive right into the episode.
That is fair. Yeah, oh my gosh. Okay. So starting off, the season 1 finale, obviously. I still just can't believe, I first watched this episode in the midst of the pandemic, so this whole entire infection storyline was so all too real. It was crazy, because I know we've seen it in other shows, but The Rookies was a little bit more accurate to something that was more realistic that's going on currently.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, but it just hit.
It was crazy to watch, especially because they say that numbers are going back up. So it was just okay, this is really weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. So for the infection storyline, goodness, I cannot talk. I'm so sorry. Okay. It begins sort of after John and Talia discover there's a body in the bus station bathroom, and so it's what was supposed to be a routine homicide is now a full-blown viral outbreak and terror attack on the city of Los Angeles, and that's according to the FBI. And at this point, John is dating Jessica Russo, and so that's why we see her come in again. The first victim that they found was Corey, and so everyone's freaking out, right? They're asking if anyone touched anything else, and then Talia had mentioned that John just had touched the wallet to get the ID, but he did so with gloves on. So that was good and also very relatable to this day and age. Everyone still will use gloves and whatnot. And they brought in the CDC. Dr. Morgan is there and asked them if they came in contact with the victim. They still said, they reiterated that they didn't need to do anything else. There's no sign of infection on the victim, so that's good too. And so Jessica's back at the station. She kind of breaks it down for everyone that Corey and his partner boarded a bus and came here to essentially disperse this virus, because they're part of a group that believes Los Angeles stands for everything that's wrong with America. Their working theory is that Corey's partner strangled him in the bus station depot to because Corey maybe got cold feet about doing this whole thing. And while there's no evidence that the agent that starts the virus has been released, there's evidence that an attack is imminent. And it's a like type of fever which essentially causes you to bleed and never stop. Um, oh my gosh. And just like when the camera panned over, you could totally see like even Tim looked a little like ill. And I was like, I don't blame him. Cause like it's just crazy. Like it had like a 90% fatality rate. It drops to 60 if it's treated quickly though. Like, but just I don't even know. Cause like that's not even the bad news. And like the bad news is there's only an experimental vaccine, which they're flying in from Atlanta, but there's only a few hundred doses. So that's kind of where they're at with all of that. And like I don't even know. Like by then, I was kind of with the rest of the room because they were all just kind of like staring and were like, I don't really know what else to say. And I'm like, I don't either because it's like a lose-lose situation, you know?
Yeah.
Crazy. And so like there's one more person that they're like trying to locate. But in the meantime, Grace says that they can like notify their families to stay away from populated areas. I feel like someone on Twitter may have posted this when they were doing like a rewatch of season 1, but like I had to wonder like if Tim was on the phone with like Jenny at that point. We just didn't know it at the time.
Because I had the thought of like who did he call? Because it wasn't his dad and it wasn't like
Heck no.
Isabel. So
yeah,
it only leaves Jenny.
yeah,
has to be.
yeah. Well, because we heard more of like Lucy was on the phone with her mom, and then I'm assuming her mom would like call her dad or something, but I don't know.
Well, and
like
Gray was on the phone with his wife.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so it just like it keeps getting crazier and crazier as time goes on because they're trying to obviously find Corey's partner and um like this third person that possibly could be involved. And so the FBI, like, okay, John and Talia found someone from the bus station that like had a photo that showed the man that was with Corey, and so the FBI is gonna like enhance the photo so they can find out who his partner is, and they do. And so they find out that it's Jimmy Roskin. And like that's when they get their first report that they have their first case. And one of the bus passengers, Mr. Langston, was infected. But the thing is, Tim is in that room with him too. And I know, Nikki, you'll get into the Chenford of it all.
Yes, I will.
And so, but yeah, because Mr. Langston grabbed the wrong bag that had all the like equipment in it, and that's what he ended up like cutting himself on, and like so he was bleeding, and so that's how the whole thing kind of started for them. And I just like I said earlier, it was just like all too real because like hazmat came and like they had their masks on and like that was just nuts. And like Dr. Morgan comes in and she's like, they have to establish a proper quarantine. So like the Mr. Langston and Tim are like stuck in that room. And like I just thought it was interesting, like when she was like Tim was like a smart man for shutting the door immediately so no blood got on Lucy. I just wanted to yell him like, you mean protective husband? Yes, I agree. Like, I mean, yes, he was a smart man for doing that, but also just like, yeah, his first instinct was just to keep Lucy away from it all. So that was very good of him. The vaccine is still, I thought it was an interesting play on words how they were like, the vaccine is still in the air. Since like this whole thing can be like spread through the air. I'm like, they mean in the air, like on the plane, I'm assuming, but still, I thought that was clever. It should be there within an hour, but in the meantime, the quarantine rules exist for a reason, so Tim can't leave the space. Even though like Lucy had tried to convince the doctor of like that he may not be infected. But Dr. Morgan still wants to put Tim to work and like have him find out what's in the bag.
I loved how he like took out his like baton or whatever and was like, yeah, I'll use this. Like
nightstick or whatever. I don't know if that's what it's called or not. Yeah. And I just enjoyed, I think it was a callback to 109 that like they used like their city issued phone to watch the body cams when they were holding them up in the like the standoff in 109. And then now Lucy's like watching Tim's when he puts his on. So he's like poking around the bags, sees the vials, but then they also like Dr. Morgan's more interested in that water bottle that has a misting fan, because that's what the growth medium's in. And if it were sprayed in a crowd, let's say, then droplets would land on people's faces and infect them through their mouths and their noses. And I'm just like, ugh, like, just because I'm like, whenever I watch shows, I like visualize what people are trying to talk about. And so I'm just like seeing this in my head and I'm like, oh my gosh, like that would just be so detrimental, like insanely so.
I'm honestly surprised that the CDC doctor didn't tell Tim to like use a shirt or something like as a mask.
Well, he eventually did.
Yeah, but like she didn't say like,
Right,
do you
that's
have
true.
anything to like make a like mask out of?
Yeah, that's true. I still cannot believe that like Langston hit Tim with a chair. Like, what? Like, I understand he was in peril or like pain or just like freaking out. Like, why wouldn't you? But just like, sir, that is not okay. I mean, thank God Tim's okay, but still, I was like,
He didn't get
like,
very far.
No, because like he was doing so much. Like they put Tim to work. He was like remaining calm and just like, helping Langston remain calm, but that didn't work for very long. Oh,
If I'm in a
It
crisis and I ever need someone, I want Tim Bradford there with me because that man can remain calm.
yeah.
It also makes me laugh about the fact that, right, we were just talking about Lucy watching Tim like from her phone, and yet she's like yelling through the door, like, "Are you okay, Tim? Like, answer me, tell me you're okay." When she can clearly just look at her phone and see
Right.
he is.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. Oh my gosh.
I thought about that as I was watching it, and I was like, Lucy, why did you yell? But like, also, I don't mind it.
Yeah, gotta get the like worried
Well, he
moments in
was
there.
like laying on the ground, like passed out. So, I mean, I would be worried about that if he hadn't like moved. But even
Yeah.
like when he like woke up, like and he was moving, I was like, okay, obviously he's moving, he's fine.
Yeah. So they like back at the station, they like cut back over. Everyone else is trying to work on like finding the car that picked the like remaining guys up. And like Talia is the one that suggested they may have gone like down local streets and stuff to avoid like the traffic cams. I believe it's the second suspect, but the third person involved is like Brendan Mitchell is his name. I just thought it was interesting though, when like Nolan and Talia went to the apartment, I think it was, they like didn't actually know the target like intended until Nolan found the LAX passes. And so now that they know where they're going to go, they all like gear up and try to set a perimeter. I'm sure this is just because like Nolan's the main character, so like they need to have him point out different things maybe, but like he's the one that points out there's a hole in the perimeter, and like so they reroute themselves and everything to like better, like I don't know how to put it, like better serve their purpose of why they're out there. And like just like during this whole thing, I don't know why Wesley riding in the back seat of Angela's shop kind of made me chuckle a little bit, because like I'm sure he did not expect to be arrested by his girlfriend and then like put in the middle of a high-speed chase. Like I'm sure that was not on his agenda.
Yeah.
I'm sure. And just like little lines, like looking back, like when Lucy asked him if he had any symptoms yet, I was just like, oh, that's like too real too, because like with the pandemic and everything, like there are people, you cannot have symptoms, and like just the reality of it all they just did. I'm sure the rookie obviously didn't know anything about what was actually going to happen down the line in the real world, but it's just kind of funny how, not funny, but just eerie how accurate it kind of was to everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they finally get the car to stop and like gunfire is exchanged and everything. They flee though, which is what gives Jessica and John like the chance to run them down. And I know Nikki, you'll get into that as well. The vaccine finally arrives. It cuts back over to well, now it's just Tim because Langston unfortunately like succumbed to the infection and passed. But the vaccine arrives, so they give Tim the shot he needs. Dr. Morgan said he was right on the edge of the incubation period. And the vaccine's experimental, so they're just gonna have to wait and see what happens. I also wanted to know though if like they actually all went back home to go to sleep like when things were done or not, because it was like bam, it's daytime. Like Chenford got the like chemical shower or whatever they have to do to like make sure they're all like okay. And then like the hazmat team's clearing out the next time we see everyone together. But
I
I
would
mean,
assume they didn't.
yeah, I wouldn't think so. But yeah, so like at the end of the episode anyway, it ends with poor Tim falling down. But like Lucy rushing up to Tim and having to be held back by like the rest of the hazmat team was like so wifey of her. Like, oh. And like, did you guys catch that like Tim called her his partner when he was talking to Langston earlier in the room? Because like I did, because he was like my partner and I, or like my partner is like calling the CDC or whatever. And so I just thought that was nice because he didn't call her his boot.
Yeah.
So.
I don't
No, I wish I did.
I feel like they don't call like each other boot and all of that like when they're like community facing. We've only seen it a few
True.
times, but I feel like that's more of just like a nickname for around the district.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I did notice on like I think it was my second rewatch of this episode, like for the podcast, I was like, oh yeah, Lucy was totally like watching Tim walk. Like totally.
Yeah, I just like because you thought like, oh, okay, like the hazmat team's clearing out and like everyone like Dr. Morgan didn't have to like come in and like say anything or give like any more warnings or anything, so you'd think like everyone's out of the woods, and then nope, they like stuck us with that ending. I could not imagine watching it live, and then like having to wait. So.
Yeah, no, I could not.
That would have been a very long couple months.
Yeah.
You know what would have been a worse cliffhanger though was like Lucy, getting kidnapped by Caleb. Like that would have been a way worse cliffhanger to wait for.
Oh, for like a finale.
Yeah, I had to deal with it. Because when I first started watching the show, it was in early to season 2, so I had caught up for like the mid-season finale, and then I watched everything else after that live.
Yeah, because you had to wait till like February for that to come back for season 2.
So it was an experience.
Crazy.
But I'll never forget that moment I watched when Tim found her. Like I think my brain short circuited.
It lost some oxygen or something.
I was like just sitting there completely like freaking out, not knowing what to do with myself at all.
I mean, after the Chenford stuff and like the mid-season finale for season 4, my brain just like blacked out. I was like, I don't even know what has happened like past this.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't remember anything from the mid-season finale but that one scene where they hug. I'm gonna have to do like a rewatch.
And it's hard to like force yourself like each time, like don't focus on that, but You
I
just
tend
want
to do it with a lot of my shows. Like if I have like a couple that I'm rooting for and something big happens in the episode, the whole entire episode that doesn't focus around them just I don't disappears.
Yep.
Like I usually have no idea what's going on.
Yeah. That is fair.
Alrighty, shall we get into Nolan, Bishop, and Jessica?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So we start out with John waking up to Jessica getting ready, and all he can do is pick his jaw up from the ground to tell her that she's trouble because he's supposed to be studying for the rookie exam. Nolan informs her, that Henry's going to be flying in this weekend and he really wants her to meet him. Jessica tells him, yeah, she wants to meet him and wishes him luck on his test. But it's interesting here because, as soon as he says that, you could see Jessica's entire demeanor change. So he immediately tries to fix the situation because he's thinking he's gone against one of the single dad rules in dating, but really, really, he'll find out later why she's acting so weird. So Jessica tells him, it's fine, but John doesn't really quite believe that. So Talia's storyline kind of picks up from the previous episodes and her previous storyline with her brother. And so you immediately see her with Officer Ruiz from IA. And so Officer Ruiz thinks that Talia's been ignoring her, but in all reality, Talia was setting her up for a pretty swift takedown.
Mm-hmm.
So Talia's always been known for her spicy one-liners and comebacks, so it wasn't surprised when she pushed back against Officer Ruiz. And Officer Ruiz just tells her, she's not spying. She's just simply monitoring those who cross the lines. And Talia immediately hits back with, the line you're crossing with me. So perfect timing. Percy, West, and Gray simply walk up and end this whole debacle. Pretty much reprimand Officer Ruiz, but at the same time tells Talia, her case is closed and the only thing against her is a letter of reprimand in her file. So of course, Talia is worried about the letter of reprimand following her for the rest of her career, but we all know it didn't cause all that much trouble when we find out in season 2 that she's transferred over to ATF. Mm-hmm. After receiving a call at a bus station, which Kari picked up on earlier, and discovering that dead man, Nolan decides this is the perfect opportunity to bring up his dating problem.
He kind of does that though, quite a bit. It'll be a somewhat serious thing, and then it's just cut over to Nolan to say something or do something a little bit offbeat.
I don't know if he thinks that it's comedic relief or if he's just it's just a good time to talk about me now. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes he's very oblivious.
Yeah.
So he's over here asking Talia if she's ever dated a man with kids before, and Talia gives him the look. And before he explains that he might have, before that, she can go any further. He explains that he might have freaked Jessica out. Talia doesn't agree because she thinks Jessica's a badass, and nothing can freak her out. So this is, of course, when Jessica walks in with the CDC and the hazmat crew and freaks them both out because 2 seconds ago this was just a simple homicide, and now it's a homegrown biological attack looming over their heads.
I love that you said Talia gives him the look. I feel like I've said this before. I wish Nyla and Talia met and Talia was so here's the rundown on this man. You gotta keep him in line here.
I know, they were both really so good at leveling him with that. Mm-hmm. They both have a look for him, and it's hilarious. It's hilarious because anytime they give it to him, he stops what he's doing and he pays attention and he realizes that maybe this is not a good time. Maybe this is not a good time.
Or he'll just quickly say whatever he wants to say and then shut up for an actual few minutes and not say anything.
There was an episode that I was watching, maybe it was the latest one, I don't remember. And Angela gave him a look too, and he's right, I'm gonna shut up now. Yeah. So
yeah, I think it was in the car.
Yeah.
In this past episode, I can't remember what they were talking about though.
Oh man, someone should make how the people on Twitter will make the GIF or however you want to say it, like collages.
Yeah.
Like someone should make like a thread of like all the times that Nolan said something and then like people just give him looks, because Gray's done it multiple times.
Not even just like a gift set. Like, how about a 4-minute YouTube video of it? Like,
Yeah. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
Maddie, if you're listening to this podcast, because she's made the like Tim video and the Jackson video on YouTube. That's her next video that she should make, is
yeah,
that.
yeah.
With
Because
like
I know
calm
that
music over it.
there's
Yeah.
definitely enough footage of it. Like,
Oh, for sure.
not
Even
just of
like
Nyla.
episode
Elliott.
1, like
Yeah.
day 1. People were looking at John like, what are you talking about?
Even in the scene where John's driving Gray around and like, you know, trying to parallel park, and then like he waves to the lady, Gray's face. Yeah. Please,
Yeah.
someone make that video.
So good. So good.
So now this is where things get a little interesting, because Nolan actually gets pissed off. He realizes that Jess knew about the attack and didn't say anything. So he starts going off like, you knew that LA wasn't safe and you didn't warn me. You would have just let Henry show up for the apocalypse. And Jess is kind of thrown off a little bit. So she's like tries to reason with John that she didn't know the threat was real. But John doesn't accept her answer. So he believes that even with that runaround answer, she should have said anything. If there was like the slightest risk, she should have notified him. So I kind of get both sides. Like, there's no way for Jess to know. Like there's so many threats that come through her job. Like, there's just no way. But I also like sympathize with John because of him. He's worried about Henry, and like, we know Henry has like the heart condition. So like, he's really amped up on like keeping Henry's like health a priority. So either way, a threat.
Did she
Sorry, go
actually
ahead.
know that the threat was coming to LA like that day? I doubt she
I don't
did.
think so. No, it was just kind of like, oh, like we kind of heard this through the grapevine, but there was like nothing set in stone.
Mhm.
Yeah. I just thought it's interesting. It's like one of the only times we've ever actually seen John get mad, like actually like upset at someone
That he's close with, because we've seen him get like not mad, but like just like stern and like in that mode when he's like with criminals, but yeah, never with anybody that's like really close to him. And I don't think we see it again anyways until this with Armstrong. So that's interesting. I thought that was interesting because we hadn't really seen that side of him before.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much the rest of the time, Nolan and Bishop are on the go. They're talking to witnesses, breaking into suspects' houses, and ending up in the middle of a shootout with the suspects. So who decides to show up again? You guessed it, Jessica. So Nolan and Jessica end up being shot at some more until Jessica takes down the suspect. So here's where it gets a little tricky, because Jessica claims that the suspect was reaching for a weapon, but John didn't see that. I also did not see him reaching, so it felt like a real dirty shoot to me, even though he probably deserved it for actively spreading the virus.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it just didn't sit right with me. Yeah, I felt like I was taking John's side a lot in this episode, more than I normally would. So then we see John talking to Talia again about his suspicions about Jessica. And of course, Talia again just ends up playing devil's advocate, and just at the end, just let it go. It is what it is. Just leave it be. But it's John, so does he let it go? Nope. He comes down to like one conclusion: she either doesn't trust me or she's a liar. So spoiler alert: there's trouble in paradise.
I'm just not a fan of Jessica. Like, I wasn't.
Me neither. I was thinking about this. Like, the only relationship that I have felt anything for him was with Grace. Otherwise, Jessica and even Bailey now, I'm just like, Lucy, we like to erase that from our mind, but she would be number one always because it's Lucy.
Oh man, yeah.
But
because like my friend Kristen was like watching season 1 with me over the weekend, And like we first met Jessica in like an earlier season 1 episode, and I was just like, she stays for a little bit, but I didn't like I was like, she's not bad, but she's just also not like just like neutral for me. Like, I don't know.
She was just kind of there. Like, I feel like she didn't make an impact at all. Even though like the characters, like they had like the characters try to hype her up, like who she was.
Mm-hmm.
But then it just like fell flat in all the storylines.
Yeah, I feel like maybe in season 1, maybe they shouldn't have given John a love interest. Obviously, besides Lucy, but like, yeah, that needed to end quickly anyway. Because like he was just trying to figure out so much that I feel like him being a rookie at 45 was kind of lost with this relationship. Like he didn't need the relationship. He had a lot of other stuff going on.
Yeah, like because I know at the same time he's fixing up his house, like the house that he got. So like he could have focused on like just him and like growing as a person. But yeah, they had him put all his effort into the relationship with Jessica. And I honestly, to this day, I've watched the show multiple times over and over, and I still can't tell you when they broke up or why they broke up.
It just kind of like ended. Like there was no clear like ending. I feel like
Sounds like Tim and Rachel.
I think
that's
I
how
don't
you
know
know it
how
wasn't
I know this.
endgame.
I just remember it was like the pregnancy, like she wanted kids and he didn't want any more kids, which again goes back to their like age difference, I suppose.
Yeah.
Only slight though, or just like where they were, like stages of life, I guess. Rather, don't ask me how I remember that. I remember random things. Like
I
I
definitely
couldn't
do
tell you
not
what
remember
episode
that.
that is, but I know it's at some. I know it's like it ended before like Lucy's kidnapping, I think. So it had
I was
to be
gonna say
like
it has to be like in
season 2.
In early. I mean, they're still together in the first episode of season 2, but yeah.
Yeah, definitely not for long because I know Grace comes in sooner
in season 2.
Season. Yeah.
Yeah, Grace comes in and kind of like knocks Jessica like out of John's mind.
I also forgot, like they broke up because she went back with her husband, right?
Grace,
Yes.
Yeah. I was surprised when someone mentioned that because I was thinking about that with the whole them having somebody come in for as a husband
Bailey.
for Bailey.
Yeah.
Like seems like a little bit of history repeating itself.
Oh, that sucks for Nolan. I feel bad for him.
I didn't even think about that until you had just said that, Nikki. I was like, wow, this could be the second time that he's like losing a woman to like her ex.
Oh my god.
I love the fact that the actor is her real life husband.
That's so great.
I didn't even know this until like a rewatch, and I was like, is that? I still have the question of that.
Well, I had like tweeted because I noticed his name in the title, and then I was like, I kept waiting and waiting and waiting. I'm like, okay, where is he? It's like 5 minutes until the thing is over. Where is he? And then it's like, oh, okay.
At first, I wasn't sure it was him because he had long hair, and obviously,
I didn't recognize him either.
I don't follow Jenna on Instagram, so I didn't know what he like currently looked at. I only knew from when he was on Shameless.
Same.
See, and I didn't know he was an actor. I just knew him as the, Jenna Dewan's partner.
I think that he was a singer first.
Yeah. Because he sang on Shameless.
Yes, and I loved the music, that song. Same. I can't remember what it's called, but I loved it.
That's where I remembered him from, and when I was like watching back, I was like, that still does not look like him. So I had to look him up like back in Shameless, and then now when I was like, I see it. It's just the hair and the beard.
That's too funny.
I think he looked better in the Shameless.
Oh, for sure.
But
yeah, so next we have Jackson West and Angela Lopez, and this episode just made me miss Jackson even more, like than I already knew.
Same.
I was like, wow, we really did this character dirty. But like Angela believing in Jackson and just saying like you're gonna have another plainclothes day because you didn't get a proper one, and believing in like that he has the rookie exam in the bag. Like, best friend in TO that she is. Like, I love it. But then like her confidence was even a little rocked because she was like, I have to decide today, like whether to request that you're assigned to a different TO, or like if I'm gonna keep you, because he was a mess right out of the gate, and she thought that he had changed, but then like in the last episode he had proved that he still had a lot of work to do. So, but like I love how she was just honest with him and was like, I feel like I failed you. Um, she was just so raw and real with it, and like you can tell that they were more than just like partner and TO. Like they were close friends, and like she saw him in her life as a person that like she could really confide in and just like grow close to, and so did he. So, um, but then I also loved that like she had him ask the question of why am I here? Like why did you want to become a cop? And it was just nice to like see that self-reflection. And we even got to like learn a little bit more about the other characters too. Like it was really cool to see. Like, Angela has 4 older brothers. She chose the job because having brothers gave her the pathological need to like stand up to the little guy. And then Jackson even asked Gray why he became a cop. And we found out that he was in the army. And I was like, wait, did we know that before? Like before this episode and I just missed it? Or
I think I missed it altogether.
I don't
I
know.
was
'Cause I
like
can't remember.
another character in the army. Like I knew that I loved Gray for a reason.
Yeah. It may have been mentioned. I can't remember what episode it was. Maybe it was like the episode 10 or something of season 1. Whenever like the first time Nolan and Gray are partnered up, and like I feel like he may have mentioned like being in the service, but I don't think he explicitly said like army.
Yeah.
I don't think. I don't know though.
Well, and when Tim became sergeant, Gray had said something about like his time in the military, Tim's time in the military. So, but yeah, like watching it again, I was like, did we already know that and I just missed it? Or am I like rewatching it for the 3rd time, 4th time, and like just getting it? Like, I don't know. But yeah, so another character that I love in the army. Like, okay, this is just a personality trait at this point. So
It's like if
um
my man in a show doesn't belong in a uniform or hasn't been in the army, I don't want him.
or like can't be broody and grumpy, like I don't want it. I don't.
Bullet magnet,
Yep.
don't
we
want
just
it.
we just have the personality trait at this point. Like it's the only thing that I love. But then like I also loved Angela and Jackson's like playful and friendly banter throughout this episode. Like again, just made me miss them more. Because after the shooting the suspect on the bus, Jackson's like, "Did you shoot me?" And she's like, "Just a little." And then he's like, "Well, you're screwed because if you shoot your rookie, you can't hand him off to another TO." So, oh, I just love them.
Mm,
That's all I
I
have
miss
to say on
Jackson.
Westlow.
Okay. Chenford time.
It's the content that we're all here for. Let's be real. Like
Always.
we
Always.
have to cover all the other stuff, which is good, but like we geek out over Chenford. So
People
They
are
just like
waiting.
served so much in this episode, and just like
So much. Like I don't feel like they should have been at this level.
not in
Yet
season
they
1.
were.
well, I don't
Yeah.
know about you guys, but like this was like the episode where I was like, okay, I can ship them now. Like full on, like,
Yeah.
okay, let's go. Like I'm here for it.
The angst in this episode was insane.
It always gets me. It's always the angst.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, before I get into the absolute god tier Chenford material, I need to point this moment out in roll call because it makes me laugh every time I watch. So Gray, tells the TOs to take it easy with the rookies today, and Tim obviously has to reply, "I don't do easy." And I'm like, are we talking about the job or relationships? Because I think the hard route is the only route he knows for everything.
Yeah.
So The first call that Tim and Lucy get is at a psychic shop, where like a man is threatening a girl with the crystal ball that Tim calls a snow globe.
Wait, I totally missed that.
Yeah,
he tells
he's like, put down the snow globe. And she's like, that's a
And she-
$900 crystal ball. Like, try again.
Oh my god.
and so the psychic, who's obviously a fake, openly has the hots for Tim, and like, who can blame her? Who can blame her? When Tim gets so cute because he like gets all tongue tied when she tells him like she wants to bring him home, and he's just standing there like, do I say anything or do I just walk away? And then he just like ends up giving her like a little cute smile and then walks away. Honestly, if I had that chance, I would also have taken the shot,
Oh, same.
whether he said yes or not.
I mean, I feel like I'm horrible at flirting, but I would try my darndest to flirt with him.
I would
so.
I would think I would try, but then I would be like, he's so hot, I can't even make eye contact.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, I'm usually very talkative, but I would probably just stare at him.
Yeah.
It makes me think of, so I work at Target and we have like a Starbucks inside our store, and all the cops come in to get coffee. And I'm like, when's my Tim Bradford gonna walk in? When? I mean, there's a couple where they're really good looking. I'm like, are you the one? Are you?
But like, I'm here in my Target uniform, not looking like the best. I would always
doing
have
these-
that.
I'm like, I'm doing these drive ups. I'm constantly walking by, like making eye contact. Like, you can buy me a coffee.
I
I'll
would
take
always
it.
have that when I worked in retail. I was like, this guy is so cute, but like here I am in a navy blue polo and khakis, like not looking my best.
I know, and I do the drive up, so like I'm always looking busted. We're always looking so run down, and I'm just like, at least the mask is on the face, so it kind of hides some of the ugliness, but a girl can dream.
Yep.
So the next call that Tim and Lucy take is obviously their last. That sounds really ominous, but we all know the fateful house they show up at. Lucy jokes, here I thought that the test was going to be the most stressful thing about my day, and I'm just like, too soon, Lucy, too soon. That's very bad timing. And of course Tim goes, yeah, best case scenario, that's tomorrow's problem. And Lucy goes, and worst case scenario? Never mind, don't answer that. The freaking foreshadowing. It was so obvious that everything was about to fall apart, and yet, I mean, on the first watch, I missed all the signs. Like, I was not zoned in on this.
Right.
But because of the pandemic and everything else, now I'm starting to see like, oh shit. They warned us, and yet I was still completely blindsided. So after they get in the house, and start talking with the guy, they start to realize like what's going on. Tim orders Lucy, stay in the living room. And then in the next second, the guy starts coughing up the blood and a big splatter hits Tim. And not gonna lie, I yelled because I had forgotten how it happened. Like, I forgot that like a big chunk just flies out at Tim. And I was just like, oh, because as a future nurse, that's my worst nightmare. I do not want to be vomited on by a projectile anything. Like, oh God, it makes me shudder. So, and then Lucy, of course, tries to rush into the bedroom because worried wife mode activates, but Tim quickly slams the door in her face, to protect her. And her little no as the door slams always hurts me a little. It always hurts me a little.
She was so baby in this episode. Like, oh my God.
So tiny, so tiny. And, there's nothing like a little dose of reality, to slap us in the face, like Kari mentioned earlier. Tim tells the guy, it's just a bad case of the flu going around. Yeah, sounds like the world in March of 2020 when we all thought COVID was going to be a flyby thing, and now we're entering year 3. Insane.
Literally, that's when I was watching this episode. Was in like March. Was when I started The Rookie, and I like watched it for the whole month, and then I was just like, too real. I don't like it. Too real.
Nope. It's just like insane. And sweet old Lucy is stuck on the other side and telling Tim he needs to get the hell out of that room. And he basically tells her, it's not happening. Like, I have to stay in here and you got to stay out there. And that's how we're going to handle this. And, Melissa always does the small moments so well. She just simply says Tim's name and she just sounds absolutely wrecked with worry.
Mhm.
Like, she's just so good at that, putting out that like vulnerableness and like that softness. And it's just so good.
There's something about Melissa and Eric's like micro expressions and like tones of voices that just they do something to me. Like they make the characters that much better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they like always like they never miss a beat.
Nope. They're just
So
damn good.
Yeah, exactly. And Tim's like, it's gonna be all right, boot. And I'm just like, he just had to add it in that boot just to make it a little less personal, even though like what's going on is a whole lot of personal. And as time goes on and he's stuck in that room, it's very clear that he's scared. But he's been trained in the army and as a cop, so he knows how to remain calm, even though like his insides are clearly like quaking right now. So yeah, I'm usually okay with like gory stuff, but for some reason when the guy dies in the bedroom, I was just so skeeved out. So
it was a lot because the camera stayed on it for a beat longer than was comfortable for me. And I know it's a technique that people use in film is to make the viewer uncomfortable, like, with their point of view. But
yeah,
much.
it was just very skeevy. And I feel like, like you made a good point where it's like, because right after they like completely like just like slowly zoom in up close to Tim's face. And he's just sitting there like stiff as a board.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I have to wonder, like, if he's ever been like in a similar position in the army. Like, I can just the agony of watching someone like slowly die in front of him and like not being able to do anything. It's just like haunting. And I hope he didn't have to go through that, but they go through terrible things over there. So
That's what I was gonna say is I wonder if it triggered any PTSD or like any bad memories or flashbacks of that. Because I mean, I would assume that he would have seen something like that.
I almost like, not to bring in a different show, but like 911, the character Eddie on there, he was in the army and they had like his begins episode. So they like flash back to him in the army and like the most traumatic part of like the whole ordeal. And I almost wish that we could get something like that with Tim, but I feel like it wouldn't work so much just because I don't, it's been so long since Tim's been in the army. It would have to be like another actor playing like him back then.
Yeah.
Can we have a Tim Begins episode, please?
I
Please.
would love that. I would
I don't
eat it
know.
up.
Like Eddie or Ryan Guzman played Eddie in the war too, or in Afghanistan. Mm-hmm. So maybe Tim could do it.
They had given him like a different they had given him like a different haircut, Ryan Guzman.
Yeah.
Because I think he grew it out and then like I think they filmed it before early season 3, so then they could just give him like that buzz cut and it would have like made no difference. But I don't want Eric to get a buzz cut again.
No.
I was gonna say it's very season 1, Tim.
Seeing his hair in season 1 versus season 4, I was like, I like the season 4 hair better.
Me too. Like it's just perfect for him. So
Melissa's hair in season 1 was amazing. I mean, not saying it's not now, but so good.
Yeah, she had, I don't know if it was season 1 or season 2, I think it was season 2 where she had like the highlights in it. I really liked like the dimension.
Yeah, she definitely had lighter tones in season 2.
But she's beautiful no matter what. So and so is Eric. So but I definitely I'm always a stickler about hair. Let's see. I almost forgot what we were talking about because I got distracted by how good looking Eric and Melissa are. So yeah, so Timmy Tim and Lucy, decide to give me the ultimate shit moment when they're on the opposite side of the door, but all they really want to be is together. Like, I just love those moments. A lot of shows have done it, and I'm a sucker for it every time.
Mhm.
So Lucy, is trying to comfort Tim because, it's all she can really do at this point to help arise. And, he tells her, lying isn't a strong suit of yours. And she's like, oh, so you think I'm good at things? Can I get that in writing? And, fast forward in time, and not only does she get a letter, but she gets a verbal confirmation from him, heart eyes included. Anyways, Lucy, earns the softest little smile from Tim, even though she can't see it. And, he keeps reminding her it's going to be okay. Or she keeps reminding him that it's going to be okay. She really believes that. But I don't know if you guys noticed it, but like Tim's lips were quivering as he like tried to answer her. And it just like completely ripped my heart out.
Oh.
So he was like, if it's like right when he like goes into like that whole spiel about like, if it isn't, I'm like not going out like this, and when the time comes, I'm gonna go out on my own terms. And Siri played Taylor Swift, when you started crying, baby, I did too. Like, was anyone not sobbing along with Lucy at this point? Like, I think not. Like, I was full on like tears running down my face.
Yeah.
Like, I was actually there with them.
I loved
so
how
it was a really
and like she was crying and she was like definitely worried, but she still like kept her composure. Like it wasn't like a blubbering mess, but it was, a few tears came out and she still like kept her composure.
Yeah. Well, it just goes to
Mhm.
show like how talented Eric and Melissa are. Not that they're not always, but just like for season one, just like it's just based on their voices that you can tell what emotion they're feeling, because they can't. I mean, obviously when they're filming this, I'm sure they could, like go talk to each other after they're done or whatever and like see each other, but just in the scene, they don't actually see each other, like their characters. So
Yeah, and I like don't know what's gonna happen. Like,
yeah.
was the last time, like for her, was like the last time she saw Tim, that moment like he slammed the door in my face.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Because the longer as time goes on, like, the symptoms are gonna might show up, and then it can go downhill pretty fast. So but I really like the fact that she remained calm even though she was crying, because I feel like that was like a little bit of Tim in her, almost like no matter what the situation is, like just like try to stay level-headed and keep your head in the game. And he always does that for her, and like remains calm and like remains her rock. So I felt like she was just like trying to pay it back to him in the only way she knew how.
Mhm.
So the vaccine finally comes. It only took forever. And of course, the moment that door opens, Tim's eyes immediately go to Lucy. Like, he will always search for her, first, no matter what. Like, she was his comfort then, even if he didn't realize that. And of course, we know the moment where he finally makes it outside and he collapses, and Lucy's running to him and gets stopped, and all our hearts are just like sinking even farther down, even though like we know he's gonna survive.
Yeah. So good. Eric in the white t-shirt. Goodness.
And
There's,
just
like,
like
a million
looking
things.
tired and like just exhausted. Perfect. I love when Talia and Angela were, like giving him crap and he was like, don't you guys have paperwork to do? Like he's never not sassy.
Mhm.
Except for when he's with Lucy and he's like in peril. Then he's his soft self. It's fine.
Yeah, because it only took, him maybe being infected with something to give her like an actual compliment. It's
Mhm.
fine. It's fine.
Oh my god. Oh, and I was like, and I mean, on Twitter, I touched upon like the whole symbolism of the door. Like, because this is like the first moment like we see Tim like be vulnerable, but there's like still something stopping it. Like there's still something blocking him from being like completely open to her, to versus
Yeah, like
like that scene in season 4 finale, winter finale, where he's walking outside his dad's room and then he completely just like breaks right in front of her, and when she pulls him into her arms and he just like sinks into her. I'm like, that's it. Like, he's that whole barrier, everything, it's gone. It's
I
just
did
gone.
not think about that parallel. So thank you.
Oh, like literal and figurative. Yeah.
I
Like,
did
the
not think about
stages,
that parallel.
the stages of him being vulnerable with Lucy just kept like a little bit more each time, would get like chipped off, and then finally everything, the barrier broke, and it's just so obvious to everyone. Why can't it just be obvious to them?
Yeah.
I've really just been like focusing on the parallel from 201 to 409 with the, like I was trying to protect you. That's the parallel that I've been like so focused on that I never even thought about the parallel with the doors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm gonna go now, go crawl in a corner and think about that for the next like 3 weeks. It's fine.
Yeah, when you look at the pictures side by side, it like really just sets it in stone for you.
Oh my goodness. All right. I just love how the rookie draws parallels. And I'm sure that it's like well thought out, but also like part of me is like, how much do they actually think about it? Or are they just like, we're just gonna do another door scene, you know?
And the funny thing is, Alexi is always like, "Oh, Chenford wasn't planned, and
Uh-huh.
I never thought of them as romantic." Like, sir, you approved this scene, and you didn't think it was romantic? Like, you didn't think fans were gonna go there? Come on now.
I mean, this was like one of the first like romantic-ish scenes that they had. Because I'm trying to think. I mean, I guess the paintball, but even then, that was in what, season 2? The paintball date.
Paintball was season 1. I just did watch that with my friend Kristen. That was
Oh, that's right.
118. Yeah.
But like even then, I mean, it was kind of like boyfriend girl, like flirtish, but I mean, not as much as this door scene. It was like angsty.
Yeah.
And now we have Lopez because why not? I am such Lopez trash, guys. Like, it's not even funny at this
They
point.
were baby. You want to talk about people being baby? Like Wesley?
Yeah,
Goodness.
they are some babies. Okay, and like for a minute, I was like, wait, what? Because okay, so like I just love how he stops by the precinct. Like obviously he has to for work, but then like in this episode, like he hadn't went and seen Angela yet. She had seen him first, and she was like, "I'm just gonna go flirt with my man." Like, bye guys.
Yeah, she was literally like, "Okay, I'm gonna go dip out. Like, see you later."
Yeah, and Gray's
That's more
just like
important thing to
watching.
do.
Yeah, Gray just like
Mhm.
watched her walk away, and I'm just like, I know that man is like, you go get him, like because Jackson's even watching too. Like, oh my god, such proud friends. Um, but yeah, they're just so flirty and baby, and it's just so freaking cute. Like he asks her how it's going, and she's like, better now. Like all just doe-eyed and smiley, and oh my god, I just want to like, I'm done. Like I cannot even function now from them. But like she just tells him that like she can probably duck out early because Jackson has an exam. And for a minute, like in my season 4 brain, I was like, wait, what? Jackson's in school already? And I was like, oh yeah, Jackson was.
Oh my god, I was like, rude. That's so. Oh my god, no. That's so
Yeah,
cute,
because
though. Oh my
well, when
god.
she had said that, because obviously Jackson wasn't with her, I was like,
Oh
oh,
my god.
that's right. I am watching season 1. I had like a brain fart there for a minute. But then yeah, so I don't know. It's amazing how much they've grown and like, you know, like how we're only in season 1 and they met in what, like 112 or something. So they'd only known each other for a few episodes at this point. And like when they find out about the infection, Angela wants to call him, but like she's not sure if he can keep it quiet. Like the fact that she knows how he is so quickly, like in their relationship, is, I mean, that's like end game shit right there. End
Mhm.
game. Soulmates. And you know, she's just like, it's the kind of civil liberties issue that like he'll get on his soapbox about. And it kind of seems like she doesn't really care for when he's like that. But Jackson's just like, well, how would you feel if something happened and you know you didn't warn him? And her face just says it all, like worried girlfriend. I mean, at this point, like worried wife, but also
Soon to be.
they just like keep getting themselves into trouble because like Wesley in season 4 is like, you know, getting hit with a baseball bat and, you know, going under as a CI. Like,
That hurt, Jennifer. That hurt.
I'm sorry, but you know what? It had to be said. But like, I don't know, they get themselves into trouble just as much as like John Nolan does. Like that's it.
Wait, was it in? No, it was in season 2 when he gets stabbed.
God,
Like, like he really goes
blacked
for
that
it.
out. Yeah,
Yeah,
and she
he
wasn't
really
even
goes-
there. She wasn't
No,
even
that's
there
when
when he
we-
got stabbed.
We met Oscar.
Oh my god, wait, and we're meeting him again in what, 410? Yeah.
Oh, is it
he's-
really?
Yeah, he's
Oh,
in the episode
man.
discretion. This man better not come for Wesley Evers or like I'm throwing hands.
Imagine Wesley has to work with him, like as a CI.
my
Like,
God.
I feel like there's something that might be there.
Oh, I thought you meant like trying to like represent him, and I was like, if that were the case, Oscar went through a window.
No,
Wait.
like as like a CI, because Oscar, I feel like, is connected to everyone on the planet in the
Yeah.
criminal world.
I
'Cause,
said
like,
before that he could be like flying the plane or whatever that like crashed, but I can definitely see him being connected to Wesley. He better not lay a hand on Wesley Evers or like Oscar Hutchinson. Like you're done.
he's trying to be like, Wesley, you're not gonna forgive me. Like, I can just see him like joking or trying to joke with him, and Wesley being like, if you don't shut up right now, I'm gonna put my fist through your teeth.
Oh my god! And then Angela finds out that like Oscar's involved too. Oh my god! Because remember when she was pregnant and you know she was like, he stabbed my husband, so you know I'm pregnant. Oh my gosh. Yeah, there's only a few things that Oscar could be involved in that episode, and it's more than likely Wesley Evers. Well, okay.
Unless
Oscar,
he escapes prison again.
and like commandeers like an airplane and crashes it or something.
Listen, you know what? Oscar, I love that man. Not even lie. He's like the one character that I hope they always bring back
Oh, same.
for one reason or another.
I saw someone tweeted and they were like, so Oscar's coming back. Pete Nolan came back in season 4. So are we gonna see Rosalind Dyer come back in season 4? Like, are we
No.
getting season 2?
I
But
refuse. No,
no.
I
Give us
can't.
some
Seeing her in
parallels.
season 3 premiere was enough. Like, that was too much.
But
But
like
she can give us some more Chenford insight.
that's what I was gonna say. Is I'll take her coming back if she can give us some good Chenford stuff.
And Carrie's like, nope.
It was, I mean, it was very, very well done, but just like that scene, it was just so haunting. It like actually just like it's good, and I enjoyed it so much in the season 3 premiere. But just like, oh, I don't want poor Lucy going like, okay, Rosalind could come back, yes, but just can she mention Chenford without actually having to see them? Like, I just don't want them to have to interact with her again. Like,
Rosalind's just like, so are those two cops dating yet? Like,
I don't
and
know.
everyone's
Like,
just
did
like,
they
who?
bang yet?
Nolan's dating life enough, like in the season 2 finale, I think. And then was talking about how, like, you know, Nolan's love life. Like, why can't she just inquire about someone else?
Our resident serial killer matchmaker.
I can like see someone talking to her and she's like, so are those two cops dating yet? And the person's just like, what two cops? Like, what do you mean?
Oh man.
And preferably it's to Nolan.
Yeah. Or to Smitty, because Smitty would just be like so confused.
Oh God.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like going back to Lopez, she's just like, I can't tell him, so she asks to take a rain check on the date. And then Wesley like rolls up in his Toyota Prius, and this man is just the cutest thing ever. He just like rolls up and he's like, "What's up?" There's a lot of cops around, and she still will not tell him what's going on.
Like, how
But,
does
like,
he know where she is?
Because he said like it's his neighborhood, but then that
Yeah.
makes me wonder how did Angela not recognize like oh
his
shoot,
place?
like I might run into Wesley. Like I don't know. Whatever.
Well, that and
He only
okay, what
went
are
to
you
her
doing?
apartment.
Yeah, and like, what are you doing home like in the middle of the day? Like, I know that he's a pro bono lawyer and like probably doesn't like have a lot, but you're also home like in the middle of the day. It just seemed weird. But yeah,
Like, it would have been so funny if that wasn't Angela though in that cop. And he just like strolls up and blocks him.
well, they were like walking back to the shop, but even then, like, I mean, I don't know. It just, I don't, does he have like the license plate that they memorized that they drive? Like, I don't know. But yeah, so like then she finally decides to tell him because she can't keep it quiet anymore. And she tells him like he can't tell anyone. So then like she still realizes though that she can't totally trust him. So because he got on his soapbox, and so she arrests him. Like she literally takes him out of the car, takes his phone, and like puts the handcuffs on him. And I don't know. I was just like, okay. I mean, is this just like Lopez foreshadowing here? Like, I don't know, for like domestic scenes or something. So then, like he still claims that this is about civil liberties. Um, and he just says like under his breath, like, this isn't gonna hold up in court. And she's like, it doesn't have to, but you're incommunicado until this is resolved. Okay, so like them talking underneath their breath is just something so personal to me that I need more of it. So then like later on in the episode, Angela's like taking the cuffs off of him after the shootout scene. And she's like, any chance we can kiss and make up, or can I expect a lawsuit? And he's like, oh, up until about 20 minutes ago, I was drafting it in my head, but then you risked everything, got on that bus, and saved to those people. And then she's like, you got a little turned on, huh? And like her little grin was the softest, like sexiest thing ever though.
Oh
and
my
then
God.
and then he's just like, no. Okay, yeah, maybe a little.
Listen, I'm telling you, their favorite foreplay is like one arguing with each other and
Yeah.
like bantering like this.
And then just like being kind of like sexy and seductive in a way. I don't know.
Yeah.
No,
Like,
I'm pretty
no
sure,
wonder
like,
why Angela got
Alyssa-
knocked up.
Oh my God. I'm pretty sure I think Alyssa posted that specific moment on her like Instagram page, just like a fan edit or something of it, which cracks me up.
I just
Like-
have no words for these two. Like no words whatsoever. But debating is definitely their foreplay. And then just being like so stubborn and so into their jobs is their other like sign of foreplay. It is. So then she's like, so we're good again. And Wesley's like, again, does it seem like we fight a lot? And she's like, definitely, but it's our thing, like some couples swing dance or go to Disneyland. She says it like so matter of factly. And it is their thing. And like, honestly, I would like to see more of it. Like,
Yeah, that's so
have it
meta
lead
of
to kid
them.
number 2. Like, I don't care.
We just want like a giant Lopez family.
Sure. Well, first I would like to see baby number 1. So,
True.
and not just in a picture.
I bet you by the time we see little Jackson, he's gonna be like 2 years old.
Probably.
Hey,
I mean,
that
I
means the
get-
show gets 2 more seasons. I'm down with that.
True.
Like
I mean, I
by the
get it.
end of this season, he's probably gonna be like walking and talking.
I get it. Like they can't have like little kids on set a lot, but I'm like, can we, I don't know, just get something.
I know it's probably even worse now, especially with, like the babies because of COVID.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
But I also forgot to mention, okay, so for 120, like we heard that they were doing the rookie exam too. And the cold open was just like so cute how they were all like the rookie trio was studying for the exam, like, you know, at like outside on a patio. And John was like, curly fries, anyone? Like, I mean, I like fries, not necessarily curly fries, but like, sure, I'll take some. And then just like at the end of the cold open, when they're like arresting those guys, and Jackson and Lucy are just like their proud selves repeating the penal code. Oh my God, it was so cute. And that's when I like really realized that I miss Lucy Chen's hair in season 1.
I thought you were gonna say like that's when you realize like how much you miss Jackson.
Yeah,
Well,
I thought you were
yeah, I
gonna say I
do.
missed the trio. I'm like, I missed the trio.
I do
I
miss
know,
Jackson.
like I can't believe we're never gonna have another trio scene ever again.
It literally hurts. I mean, just a Lucy and Jackson scene.
It like it still doesn't feel real to me.
No.
No.
Like in my head, I think
Doesn't.
Jackson is like on vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had to take a leave of absence. Like anything that happened in 4-1, besides getting Angela back and the Chenford hug,
Mm-hmm.
don't want anything else.
Yeah.
I almost like, I don't know. I hope that we kind of see Percy West at some point and like we get an update on Jackson. Or wait, no, because oh my God, what what am I even saying? Oh my God, I don't
I
even
feel
know.
like, I feel like by me saying that he
Oh my
went on
God.
a leave of absence just like screwed you.
It did. Oh my God. Just scrap all of that. Everyone, just forget it.
We
I'm
can
on
still
one.
see Percy.
Oh my God, yes, we can still see Percy and then just see like how he's struggling. Oh my God.
Well, I
All
think
right.
just like
I have tears
watching
in my
season
eyes.
1 is so
Same.
good. Yeah.
Oh my God, that was a classic like Jennifer what the fuck moment. Ugh.
Yeah.
I tried to like control myself.
All right. Yeah, but like 120 is done now. I mean, we had that cliffhanger at the end.
Wow, guys. Okay. Are we good now?
Yeah. I'm
Okay.
good.
Maybe.
Oh God. Oh dear.
Do you want
alright.
to start with 201?
Yeah, so we're going on 201. The cold open was like not even really, it was like, well, I mean, I know they've done this like since then, but like this was like the first time they kind of picked up like right where it left off for like a finale into a premiere kind of thing, which I thought was nice. 'Cause it opens with Tim's en route to Shaw Memorial on the ambulance. Like the rest of the units are following them, like kind of trying to escort the ambulance to the hospital. Lucy, of course, is by Tim's side as he's in the ambo. There's no bleeding, so he's not like infected or like anything with the actual virus. He is, however, having a severe allergic reaction to the shot that they gave him. He's going into anaphylactic shock, so they need to give him the epinephrine. While that is happening, it cuts over to Jessica. Apparently, before she shot Jimmy, he made a call to another burner. And so she's telling Gray this, and he's like, I'm not going to like where this is going. And she's like, no, because they think there's a third terrorist out there. And so it cuts back over. The ambo pulls up. John alerts the like hospital workers to help him. This is where he sees a woman with, I think it's a machine gun. I'm not sure. Whatever fires in like rapid succession. Yells out gun, and everyone who can like takes cover while the officers are obviously firing back. When I say I like yelled over the parallel that I always enjoy of like Lucy covering Tim's body with hers in the ambo, and then like Upstead's van scene from Chicago PD kills me every time. Like
The only difference is like Haley was conscious and Tim was not. So
well, I mean, he like I don't know. Well, I guess because he was going into shock. So yeah, because like he was like thrashing around like earlier. But yes, that is true. I just like there's just so many parallels between those ships. It killed me every time. And just like so like Angela, John, and Jackson are taking fire. They're like covering for each other so they can each like fire back. Which I enjoy that they like actually like yell out like covering. So like we can like kind of I don't know, just like see how it's all like done or like how they move and like maneuver around each other and stuff. I don't know if this is like one of the first times the like heartbeat like sounds are used, but they're definitely like very, very prevalent in this open. From John's point of view, obviously. And then we even see Lucy for a quick second. She like jumps into action and shoots back as well. John ends up shooting the woman once. He runs out of ammo though and tries to get his other like either his other piece out or he's trying to reload. When my absolute favorite moment of this whole entire episode happens, because bam, out comes Tim from the ambo, who fires another shot, takes down the woman, which allows John to then tackle the woman to the ground. I just enjoy the like, well, now that we've coined the whole Brolin term for their like Tim and John moment, just like them kind of checking in with each other, and John's like, "You okay?" And Tim's like, "Yeah, you okay?" And he's like, "I should have reloaded on the move." And Tim's like, "I should have taken yesterday off." Like, and just like this, the camera just like perfectly like encapsulates like the differences between the two men of just like not only in just like physicality, just like, you know, because Tim's in like the t-shirt still and all this stuff, and he's like, you know, just like plain clothes, and then John's in full uniform still.
their expressions too.
Like, yeah, their expressions, their like demeanor, just everything is very different, but still very, very nice. And I just like enjoyed a like action scene with almost everyone in it, minus Gray, but almost everyone. So yeah. So obviously Tim is okay. But
Yay!
you guys already saw the episode.
I mean, I was gonna say, like, was there any doubt? But yeah, I guess like season 1, you know, they could take anyone. So
I don't know, like you never know what shows these days.
yeah, that was real clear in 401, guys. Real clear.
Yeah.
Minus my little brain fart, but
yeah. Well, like, cause season 1, when they took Zoe,
Trauma.
it like turned a major corner for the show. It just like went to show that
yeah,
we never know who's sticking around or who's not. So yeah. But anyway, now we're on to more Chenford. So it's exciting.
Just to bring it back around to the moment that Lucy throws her body on top of Tim to protect him when the bullets are like flying through the ambulance. I just want us all to think about the fact, like, the first time they were shot at together, Tim was hit and like Lucy couldn't protect him, but like now that she has like the chance to protect him, like she does it without even thinking. She just like just jumps right on top of him and like just to ensure like he doesn't get hit.
Nikki with all of the fucking parallels tonight. Like this
Literally, what
hurt.
the hell? Oh my
This
god,
hurt.
I'm having a moment.
First the doors and now protecting them. Like
Because
I
Lucy
can't.
was so like freaked out in the pilot episode though. And just like, because she didn't know like what, I mean, she knew what to do, but just like, because
Well,
Tim
it
had
was
to
her
be like,
first day. Yeah.
don't
Like,
worry
she
about
didn't
me, like,
think it would
shoot
happen.
back. Yeah.
Don't worry about
Oh,
me. I'm just
man.
bleeding out here on the ground, but yeah, I'm fine.
I'm at my limit.
I cannot.
I didn't realize like about this parallel until I was sitting here watching it, and I was like, it hit me, and I was like, God damn it. They get me again. They get me again. Because you guys all know I'm a sucker for parallels.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Okay, so we have Tim doing the most iconic entrance on the planet again with the ambulance, you know, guns blazing and all that fun
Good.
stuff. And the next time we see Lucy and Tim, they're in roll call, and Tim, you know, asks, they're sitting together, and Lucy, you know, asks Tim's like, how's he feeling, and is he ready? And he's just like, I'm ready to get back to it. He just wants to put everything behind him now that he's like on the mend. And Lucy's like, did you get the food I sent over? And guess what? I thought of, you know, after watching again, you tend to notice the little themes. And like Lucy brought Tim food after like something traumatizing happened. And then obviously we know eventually like Tim does the same thing for Lucy after she gets kidnapped. So of course I was just like, stop being so cute.
Oh my
Man,
God.
after this episode, I'm just gonna go and sit in a corner and like cry about all these
I
Chenford
didn't
parallels.
realize that though. Oh my God. I need a moment. That
Like,
oh
if Maddie is listening and wants to make a 4-minute video of all the Chenford parallels too, like I would not complain.
Like
please,
I
I
think
literally sent her a DM about our Nolan things. I will literally send her one about that too. I
I'm
swear to God.
definitely gonna make an edit. I also call them GIFs. I refuse to say GIF.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Because I never, as
So
soon as
I'm
I ever
gonna
say that, I'm like, okay.
Anytime
I'm gonna
someone
make a
says
GIF
Jif,
up.
and anytime anyone says Jif, I think of Jif peanut butter. So
Me too. Me too. I just hate it. Like why would you ever do that?
that's like calling Chenford Tusi, and you know, no,
No.
we do not need that.
I
God,
don't
is there still people who call them Tusi?
No, not since Eric, but not since Eric like stopped. I don't think, because like even the rookie account was using 2C like at the very beginning of when the show started up, but now I think since Eric hasn't used it, it's died down.
And I was gonna say, I think even new fans that have started watching just call them Chenford anyway, because
And all the media outlets that talk about the show do too. So I mean,
yeah,
that's a
Tusi is
good thing.
officially gone.
Dead.
Yeah.
Dead like Jackson.
Wow, wow.
Rude.
Nikki just stays hurting us tonight. That's just how it's going.
That is so rude. Oh my God.
That just well, it's gonna hurt a lot more because Tim and Lucy this episode also hurt me and probably hurt everybody else. Because you know, after roll call, you would have assumed that they were on good terms, but that's not the case. So Tim, you know, Lucy comes out after because you know they passed the exam, so Gray is like, you know, they could all wear short sleeves now. As soon as Tim sees her, he just has to ruin her mood, has to ruin the whole day. It's like, you know, makes her go back and change into the long sleeves, even with the freaking tie. And you could tell that she's like irritated with him, and you know what? Rightfully so.
Mm-hmm.
The next time we see him, they arrive at that park, and Tim tells Lucy, you know, to stop pouting, and Lucy, you know, obviously is like, I'm not. And he goes on to tell her, you know, if she thought it was going to get easier after the exam, like she was wrong. And then he starts to like quiz her. He doesn't even let her breathe for 1 second. And so he tells her that his buddy made a fake IED, and you know she has 10 minutes to find it, or he's adding the duty hat to her uniform. And so Lucy's looking around. She thinks she sees it in a backpack, but then a guy comes and picks it up. So she ends up zoning in on the barrel. And then eventually she finds like the fake IED in there. Tim, being the little shit that he is, purposely acts like he can't hear her. So she uses her walkie to tell him, and boom, the fake ID blows up in her face. And he's like, and you're dead. And so he's like, are you going to forget this lesson, Boot? And she just simply replies, no. And boy, does it come back to bite him in the ass, because she gets him back in the most unexpected way. Obviously, we know in season 3. And he just has to keep like nitpicking at her. So he's like, you missed a spot. And so I'm like, you know what? When Lucy said you're a pain in the ass, it rang true. So Tim and Lucy have another conversation where Tim tells her like her default should be suspicion and not compassion. Which he has a point here. Like, Lucy's heart is so big that like sometimes like you have to worry, like, is it gonna possibly interfere with staying on track and be able to do her job with a clear mind? So I can see where the lines can start to get crossed. And obviously, when it comes to each other, they're crossing them. Like, there's no way that Lucy would like just let anything happen to Tim without her just completely like losing her mind. And then we've already seen that Tim has lost his mind when Lucy got kidnapped. So so now once they get back to the station, like, this is where the fireworks are really started. Lucy starts to get into the nitty gritty of like what's been transpiring between them all day. She asks him like, so, does this mean that I lost all respect that I earned from you? And he like just simply responds to like, you lost that when you lied on a report. And I was just like, ouch, Tim, like, cool it. Don't be so mean. So now like they're both like fired up. Tim is mad because Lucy didn't put in the report that he told her that he'd like rather take his life than bleed out. He really puts like emphasis on like suicidal ideation being an extremely serious and reportable event. And then Lucy's just reeling at this point and, goes off with the line that Jen said that she like just can't stop thinking about, where she's like, I was just trying to protect you. Like, they would have put you on leave, required therapy, and you weren't even actually like suicidal. But Tim, being so damn stubborn and only thinking his way is the right way, like, doesn't care. But when he starts to care, when Lucy like hits him where it hurts. So she tells him like, oh, like, I should have reported you detailing everything you've done to protect Isabel, and like, don't pretend like you have some code. And that hits Tim deep because he just stands there. Like, nothing, everything in him just like completely just shuts down. And then, the one thing we know about Tim and Lucy is that like they know how to remain professional no matter what is going on. So, as the shift goes on, they still have a job to do. And we know from Kari talking about it earlier that Lucy catches a fake cop in the police garage, and it earns her a little compliment for Tim, even though it was like also complimenting himself. And so Greg keeps pointing out, like, you jumped over that after him. You really did that. And Tim's like, yeah, of course she did. I trained her. It's like so stupid how giddy I get when Tim acknowledges her skills and how far she's come.
It's the way that he said it for me. Like, he just said it like nonchalantly, and he was like, yeah, what about it? Like, I trained her. She's great at her job for that. So
yep, if he doesn't take it away from her. So
no,
even with everything's going on, like, he still has her back.
Yeah. Well, and even then, Gray was like, sure you did. Like, okay.
It's all you, Tim.
Yeah.
And the last we see of Tim and Lucy in this episode is, getting them, is seeing them blocking the fake cops out on the bridge. And Lucy's like, shouldn't we wait for backup? And Tim's just like, we are the backup. And of course they handle the business. Okay. Lucy throws a smoke bomb. They sneak up on them, take them down. It was very hot of her. I very much approve. I need Lucy in more action. scenes
Did you
pronto.
catch it that she like looked at him with like a small smirk and then like when she noticed that he wasn't reciprocating, she just like looked away and was like, never mind. Yeah.
Oh my god. I
That
can't with
whole
them.
scene was really like high octane, like very action packed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then the next storyline that we have was, I mean, it's kind of been touched on already throughout the other storylines, but was the fake cop. So I mean, we got some good Nolan and Gray stuff out of this storyline. Like they were on patrol together, and then like they worked with Jessica to find the guys who stole like the 20 uniforms, and we even got some Gray and Jessica banter, and like he called her as a courtesy, but he was like, in most cases stolen uniforms are like used for drug reps. And then like we obviously get to see everyone kind of kill it at their jobs. And Jessica just like goes all like HBIC and FBI like I got this, I can take care of it. And I mean, it's assumed that she is like like a big team like working behind her too, like for the FBI side. But like we never see them, so it's just her. Um, but then like Gray was like commanding the team, and no one was just like learning more about policing in the different sectors of the force. Like, like he even sat with the sketch artist, like who gets the description that he had like explained wrong, and so then he has to like re-sketch it, and he's like, I did some sketching in my like old job. Yeah, it's like a construction guy, like,
Yeah,
but
like
he
I
like
didn't realize that
drew the
worked for
face.
faces.
Yeah, yeah, it was just like, okay. So then I don't know, we get this comedic yet gross moment like when Gray and Nolan roll up on the scene with the bikes being burned, and Gray's like, I can smell that there's a body being burned too. And we find out it's the guy from the uniform store, and Nolan just gets this like queasy feeling, and Gray's like, not on the crime scene. So like Nolan like runs away, like ready to vomit. And you can like hear him in the background, and I was like, I did not need to hear that. Like I would have rather heard anything else than that. um but then like Jessica shows up to the crime scene, and she teases Gray, and she's like, still think that they stole the uniforms to rob drug dealers. And so he's like, let's not do that, I told you so's. And then Tim's also there because he's like little Sergeant Bradford in training. And he's just like, let's just cut to the chase. I mean, yeah, like this man has been preparing for his sergeant position since season 2.
I
Shit, I mean,
just watched the episode when he had said in season 1 that he like wanted to take the sergeant's exam
yeah,
or like study for it, and ask Ray if he thought that was okay. And I was like, oh, Tim's being like, just his whole journey, like the rookie does so great with like, well, not continuity in a timeline sense, but continuity in a like storyline.
yeah.
So
Yeah. So then we see Jessica like remind everyone that they're dressed up as cops now, and Tim, always the realist, is like, yeah, they could be working the scene right now. And then I love how like the camera like pans over to all of the other cops on the scene, and just kind of like lingers on them. So then Gray and Jessica like put their banter aside and like work together to implement new identity verification and protocols, and then like set up an interagency task force. I liked seeing them work together, and I like seeing Gray like work with like special task forces and just like people higher up than him. Um just because I think it kind of gives him like a little bit more depth and like storyline. But then like outside of the crime scene, we see John, Jackson, and Lucy like watching, them, kind of work the scene. And you can just tell that Jackson and Lucy want to be in the thick of it, but John's just like, yeah, I'm a little skeptical of it. Like he's mostly focusing on Jessica. Like he's not even focusing on anything else. Whereas like Lucy and Jackson are, well, Lucy's watching Tim, obviously. And Jackson's just like, I want to be there. Like I was born for this. And then so like later in the episode, we see Gray like brief everyone in the morning on the previous night. And he's just telling them like that some paranoia was caused. And there were 2 fights and then the air shooting because 2 officers didn't recognize each other. And I don't know why when I watched the scene, I thought of the meme of all the Spider-Man, like, doing like, I don't watch Spider-Man. So like, putting like trying to like do the webs. I don't know. I just thought of that and I was like, I can totally see that happening. And now I wish we had a scene like that. Like if, there being like 7 cops and they're like, wait, who's who? You know?
That would have been perfect.
Right? Get Tim in it and he would be like, I don't have time for this bullshit. Like, I don't. So then, like I also loved when Lucy was walking through like the parking garage of the shops. And we had mentioned that cop comes in and he's like walking behind her like closely. And I don't know, watching this like with 2021 pandemic eyes, I was like, he is too close. Like you need to back up, dude. So then like he's acting like all shady and she just remembers like what Tim had said and she's like, cop eyes, like have to watch him with those. And she looked so innocent, but like obviously knew that something was up. So he's like looking in the shop and like in a shop and he says he's looking for his wallet, but obviously she doesn't totally believe him. So he goes into another shop and she's on even higher alert, like asking him if he found it. And she sees that in his hand, he's got a radio and some other things. So she walks up to him. He starts to run and then like jumps over the wall. She gets to the wall and I don't know. For me, I could like kind of tell that she was like hesitating for a minute and then she was like, screw it. Like, I'm going to jump. And then, like lands in the trash can or in the dumpster. And, like he gets away in the car with no license plate. So, yeah, we talked about it, or Nikki talked about it earlier when, Gray and Tim were there and, Tim was like, of course she did. I trained her. And Lucy remembers that he wasn't wearing gloves when he touched car 26 to take the radio. So they end up using that to find his identity and all of that. So then
That whole
just
scene reminded me of like Melissa's behind the scenes that she posted about her like ADR and like how she like went like yippee as she like jumped.
Oh, yeah.
And that was like the take they didn't use, obviously. But
yeah. Oh, good little
Can you
bloopers
imagine
like
they
that.
did use it?
That would be
kind
so
of
on brand. Yeah.
exactly.
That would be on brand. Yeah, so
that
then
would
when
go to her grave. Imagine like Tim ever found out.
he would never let her live it down.
Well, because
Never
he
said,
was on the
what?
phone with him, right? So like, how would he not know? You know what I mean? Like, people would have known.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Then John and Jessica are like out chasing the lead. Well, and the way that like Jessica got him to be partnered with her was like, I need to
Please.
talk to him. And I was just like, do you though? Like, I don't know. And John's just like, okay, I'm coming. Like he just like gets up and he's just like, I'm coming, honey. Like, I don't know. It was just weird. It was really
If there's
weird.
anything as good about Nolan is that he backs down to women. Like he lets women lead the charge and he
Yeah.
just
He
goes
doesn't put
along
up
for
a
the ride.
fight. He does not put up a fight. The man is like the most, I don't know, compliant guy when it comes to like women. I don't know. That sounds really weird, but I'm apparently on one tonight, so it's fine. Yeah, so then
I was thinking about something very inappropriate. With like subbing and him being obviously the submissive.
For the love of God.
I was
Nolan
just like,
fans, this one's for you.
I mean, kind of, because like in 120 he was like, God, you were trouble. Like that can kind of, and that okay, like he
Well,
is.
see, now I don't
maybe
feel
like
bad for like going. Like my mind went to the gutter when Tim was like, "I don't do easy." I'm like, okay.
Yeah, you guys had put that in the outline, and I was like, I see it, but My mind's not like totally thinking like that.
Sure, we hope to see it on screen one day when Chenford gets together.
I mean, yeah. The rookie proved that they can do intense scenes. I need them to do not just intense like work scenes and shootouts, but like intense personal scenes, please.
Mm-hmm.
Me
I would like
investing
one for Chenford and Wesley and Angela.
Oh my god, the Wesley and Angela one would be hot though.
They definitely have like handcuffs. They be using it all. I
Yeah.
just know it.
Angela is definitely the one that like wants to use them, and Wesley's like, I mean, okay, like if it'll make you happy.
You could do whatever you want to me.
Oh my god, that's probably okay. Their scene in 120 at the end was probably what like led to that. I'm thinking,
Oh my god.
oh my
She's
god,
like-
peak chaos.
She's like, you arrested me and put me in the back of the shop. Yeah, and unlocked a new kink for me.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh goodness.
Oh yeah. So then wait, we're talking about Jessica and John right now? Yeah. I'm like, I don't
We
even
got
know.
way off track.
So then yeah, Greg calls about the radio being stolen. And I don't know, I just like loved how Jessica jumped in, and because she kind of knew that like John wouldn't exactly know what to do. I mean, he ran the plates on the cars, but like, and on the street, like, found Tim and Lucy's missing woman, but like, she knew that he wasn't going to be able to like totally, like, he would have figured it out, but she was like, let me just get there quicker. So then,
She's like, I don't have time for this.
she really didn't. She was like, screw it, I can do it, and, get the job done. So, like, she grabbed the surveillance equipment from his war bag and was like, we can look and to listen into the home. And so Jessica like goes in first through this like gate, and just like takes charge of the situation. And I don't know, I wasn't a huge fan of her, but like I did like how she handled this situation. Just because like she proved that, she was like capable of,
Yeah, like she
being a
used her
badass.
like
So
credibility and like resources intelligently in
Yeah.
this episode.
yeah. So then we find out more information about these cops, like while, they're watching the hostage situation go down. And they're trying to get evidence from a homicide case off of a truck that like is gonna go destroy evidence. So yeah, that's interesting. They were like planning an ambush. So then I don't know. I did like how we saw John and Jessica like try to keep an eye on this hostage situation. As we saw the ambush start to play out as well, like editing magic right there. And I liked how we saw John use his contractor knowledge to like point out that there was a crawl space under the house, like because of the raised foundation. So he could like come up through the heating vents, and then but like so he wanted to go rogue on this, and Jessica was like, that's too dangerous, like you can't do that. And then he ends up doing it anyway. I liked how she was like trying to keep him, like trying to rein him in for a minute, because he did want to like prove himself that like he could do this and like do it the right way. And it does work. Like, he ends up throwing the fake cop through the window and like ultimately saves the hostage. But I think it was good to see Jessica like rein him in a little bit and kind of say like, no, you can't do this. And she didn't even try and like pull rank on him. Like, I'm a higher up than you. Like, no, I'm telling you can't do this. Like, she just, had told him it's dangerous. So,
I
but
don't
then
know
like,
why, but like the part when Nolan like just appears out of like seemingly nowhere
yeah,
and just like his expression, I'm sure was supposed to look intimidating, but it was kind of close enough to the default expression that he usually has that it just made me laugh.
yeah,
Even though I wasn't supposed to be laughing, I just laughed because the guy just turns around and it's just like Nolan
shocked.
covered in
Dirt.
Same. Yeah, I kind of laughed too. I was like, it's not supposed to be funny, but like he's just standing like right there. I was like, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so then like going back to the ambush, I love that we saw Tim and Lucy first, and he was like reminding her that like, you know, the fake cops know they don't know that they know. And then like, you know, he had reinforced her like to use her cop eyes. And so then like when they meet up with the fake cops, Tim just goes in the sergeant mode with that firm voice and that stance. And you know, like telling them that the radios are down. And we see our best girl Lucy like say Tim, and you know, he's just like, yeah, I know, I see it, to the guy in the backseat of the shop. The way that Lucy just says Tim, like it just does something to me. And I don't know, it's just very personal.
Yeah,
And
because just the way they like just by saying their names, like it just conveys so much communication and emotion.
mhm.
It just, yeah, I agree. It just gets me.
Well, then like she probably didn't even have to say his name in that moment. Like he obviously would have seen it, but she just wanted to like make sure that he did see it. And it's just so good. So good. So then you know, I also love like when they go back to the shop and Tim's like, one last thing before we go. Real cops wear their vests under their shirt, and and then the shootout happens. Um and it reminds me of Emily's like question to Eric on Cameo, because she was
Please,
like
I literally put that in my notes for this. I
yeah,
was literally like that. I wanted to be like, and all the actors actually wear their vests, but like Eric's the one that does.
yep, he wears it under his under his shirt.
Mhm.
Yeah. So and then like Angela and Jackson show up. I just love one bestie, like one team of besties. And then, you know, like we had mentioned before, Lucy proves that she's a badass and sneaks up behind the guy. And it's just like, get down on the ground, you know. Oh, I love it. But that is it for the fake cops. Like there was a lot that went on in that storyline, and then it like interweaved with everyone else. So it was just kind of like, wait, where are we now? But
Yep.
Well, to circle back to our resident couple, Wesley and
literally the
Angela.
only canon couple, like that
I
hurt.
know. Yeah, John's relationships just don't count to me.
Yeah, after I said that, I was like, wait, we do have John and Bailey, but like, I don't know.
They don't matter. They don't matter.
Lopez is
Not
top tier.
not yet. So Wesley, the first time we see Wesley, he's waking up in Angela's bed and the room looks like an absolute tornado went through it. There's clothes everywhere. And, you know, the way he ends up actually waking up is because Angela throws a shirt and like smacks him right in the face. Like, that's one way to be woken up.
Oh my god. I'm assuming that
Also,
was just like a one take scene, because that would have been so funny if poor Shauna had to get hit in the face with a shirt like 10 times over.
also Wesley sleeping shirtless. Like, I know. That's right. Okay. Continue.
Yeah,
I
that was
think
like
I
the
should talk
first
about
time we
that.
saw him like that. And I
Yeah.
was like, I'm here for it.
Yeah, that's because they were getting up to their kinky stuff
God.
the night before. No.
No,
So,
because Angela
and-
said she had to work, so I don't know. Maybe
Oh
after
yeah,
work.
I forgot
She
about
like
that.
woke him up.
Like morning glory.
No, after work, and she had her grilled cheese. She like woke him up. You know. Oh my god.
You guys are killing me.
So Angela, you know, and Wesley always being the cutest and giving us those little moments of bliss. He comes up behind her, as she's still looking for her shirt and gives her like a kiss. And of course, my heart was just melting because I just love them. And then we get the confirmation that Wesley has officially moved in, which I had missed this the first time around, which I don't know how I did, but I did. And after he I'm surprised to see how messy it's gotten. And Angela breaks the news to him that she used to clean for 2 hours before he came over, and now he can see the real her. And Wesley, of course, is like, I wouldn't want it any other way. But then he sees the eaten, like half eaten grilled cheese in the show. And of course, he might have just doubted all his life choices in that very second. But we forgive you, Wesley. We really do. And Angela, of course, takes the grilled cheese and eats it like it's no big deal. She has zero shame. And I love every second of it. And then we see him in the at the station, and of course they're publicly flirting again because they just can't control themselves. And so Wesley's like, have I ever told you how sexy you look in that uniform? And I'm like, damn, Wesley, laying it on thick, but you're not wrong. You're not wrong, okay? Nothing can make Angela look bad. And but then he ruins the moment. He like ends up picking a fuzzball or like a crumb or something off of, Angela's uniform, and she immediately has like a change in mood. She becomes like a little irritated, and because she's like, why couldn't you have just left it there? Why'd you have to point it out and like ruin the moment? And then Jackson asks her like, are you okay? And he's like, she just thought living together would be more fun than it is. And obviously I think it's like an adjustment period that she wasn't like quite ready for. But with anything, Angela, once she gets the hang of it and gets on the right track, like there's no stopping her. And of course, so Angela arrives home later that day, and Wesley is at the living room, like in the living room, and he's like so type A. He's so type A. It's so freaking hilarious. And he wants to have a conversation about the living situation, but he wants to do it in a controlled environment. So he has a timer. And does it stay controlled? Not a chance, because Angela and Wesley are like hitting their first bump in the road, which is like, I feel like every couple needs to do that, but it just hurts extra when it's done because they're always so happy. I mean, until this season, but so Angela automatically assumes like they're gearing up to fight, and obviously that's where it leads. And then we find out more like information about like Wesley living there, and he's only been there for a week, and like it's been a disaster the entire time. And Angela tries to tell him like, I work all day, and like when I want to come home, like I just want to relax, and I don't want to be like having to clean up and pretend to be somebody I'm not, and that we can't all be anal retentive like he is. And then she points it out that he folds his underwear into triangles, and I freaking died laughing because she's like, it's weird, and he's like, it's not weird.
Yeah, I mean, this like literally though like goes to show like debate is literally like how
Their
they like
thing.
a foundation in their relationship is like arguing.
I mean,
Like
if
I feel like the
Wesley-
timer.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say like the timer thing was just like so perfectly them, even though like they were fighting. But
Yeah.
I was gonna say if Wesley gets disbarred, I mean, he'll be a good like Mr. Mom, like stay-at-home dad. Because I feel like he definitely like, I don't know, he keeps the house clean like just because he can't stand that when he's messy. Like he's that type A. And Angela just like gives him crap for it.
Fair.
yeah, which I would probably do the same.
Same.
So I mean, I think we can all agree like miscommunication has to be like one of the worst tropes, but it's like part of every like blossoming relationship. And Angela like kind of misconstrues what Wesley's like trying to say and just abruptly ends the conversation. Her last words to him are like, sleep on the couch. And of course, Wesley just retorts with like, I would if I could find it. And I shouldn't have laughed as hard as I did at him saying that, but I did. Like,
It
It's
was perfectly
probably-
delivered.
like he probably shouldn't be poking the bear. Like, he's gonna be staying on that couch for a long time. So as time goes on, Wesley comes home, and then he finds like Angela crying and cleaning. So she's sitting there like mascara all running like underneath her eyes with like the bleach bottle, like just spraying and scrubbing. And you know what, girl? I feel that. One, nobody wants to clean. And two,
No.
I also hate watching you fight with Wesley.
Same. When she cries,
Oh.
I cry, honestly.
I know. Ugh, she just does it so well.
I'm still just like not over the leopard like jacket that she had on though. That was like all I was focusing on in that scene. And her hair was like
Yeah, she
gold.
looks so pretty, even though she was.
Yeah.
I wish I looked that good when I was crying.
Mhm. Alyssa Diaz
Yeah.
can do no wrong.
And I also love that I didn't realize that they had been like putting her in leopard since like that early, or like the animal prints.
Mhm.
But I love that, and I think they should continue it because it's very much her.
Yes.
She's like a lioness.
Mhm.
And so then so when he comes in, he like Wesley sits on the floor with her and like spells it clear, like it out clear as day. You know, if they don't talk to each other, like this is just never going to work. And that's when Angela finally like cracks and like opens up to him. So she's like tells him like I've never lived with anyone before and I've never been in love like this. And she's scared that she's gonna screw it up. So Wesley, being sweet and supportive, just goes, "You won't, because I won't let you." And they kiss and everything feels right in the world again. Like there's just no way anyone like thought they weren't going to make it. Like, I mean, I always knew, but you never know, but they
Yeah.
just they can't ruin them. They can't.
Mhm. Yep. So the last little part that we have, there are just a little bit more like Nolan and Gray things, and then a few little other things with John and Jessica as well. I forgot that the beginning of season 2 was when John was building his house. Don't know how I forgot that, but I did. Because like, I mean, I appreciated that they put like the 2 weeks later or whatever after the cold open, and then like they like had the camera shot of like Nolan knocking down the wall, so it knocked off the title card. That was clever. But yes, they're in a new house. John's like literally just like demoing the hell out of it, and like Jessica's there with him, and they're having this like date night, and she's like, she's been at crime scenes more romantic than this. Like, what is it with John and having these weird dates? Because he's had like not a normal date with Bailey at all in season 4. So like maybe it is just a thing.
It's a
with
thing for him. He
Yeah.
can't have a normal date. He really
Yeah.
can't.
No, because I think even in when he's with Grace, like every time they try to date, like something goes wrong. Like
mhm,
his brother shows up, and then
mhm,
the time at Nyla's house.
mhm. Yeah, they're just all kind of a little bit awkward.
It's the comedic part in it.
Mhm, I suppose, yeah. I'm glad that they mentioned Talia again, because like missing her. John says it's like not the same without her. Then he also asked Jessica if it like bothered her at all to shoot Jimmy in the season 1 finale, and she was like, "Wait, you've been waiting like 2 weeks to ask me this?" And she's like, "Of course it did," but she also said that like things affect you way less the longer you're on the job. Um, and so they kind of leave it at that for right now. I don't know why, but like seeing Gray like write the scores up on the board, I don't know if it's just I enjoy just seeing things like being written out. It was just fun, and he like uses like chalk. I didn't realize it was like a chalk board, because like usually he uses like a whiteboard. And so he like had them guess their scores, and like none of the guesses were right either, which I don't know about you guys, like did you think the scores like actually fit like with each character? Because like I still just like am kind of blown away by the fact that they didn't actually have Jackson be like the high score.
I
No
feel like it
one's-
was a little sorry.
Nolan's kind of fit for me. Like, I expected him to be one of the higher scores. Just
Yeah.
because he's the main character. I was like, they're not going to have him fail. but or not fail, but like get the lower grade.
True.
I was thinking it fit for Jackson because of like his struggle since he like started like his rookie journey. So I just felt like, yeah, it made sense when they made him have the 81. I still believe that Lucy should have gotten the 97. Like, I think the 91 would have fit Nolan, but like Jen said, he's the main character, so they got to give him special treatment.
I didn't think about that with Jackson though, because he was kind of struggling like from the get a little bit, and like he like kept getting past it, and then like would take a little bit of a step back and then get past it again. So I guess that fits. Yeah. I just like, because like I know you guys had talked about the like, moment for Chenford when Tim was like, of course she did, I trained her. But like as I was watching the scene when like Angela handed Jackson the pink jersey that Tim made for Lucy, I was like, so he's over here thinking like she really got the lowest score. Like, why is he doing that? Like,
okay, I thought the same thing. I was like, wait, what is happening here? I was like, sir, she is very smart. Do not doubt her. But then like he like flipped the switch.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, because even when he was talking to Angela in 120, he was like, none of my boots have ever scored that low. And it was like, so are you just not believing that like she could have gotten a higher score? Like you're just automatically assuming that she got that lower score. It's like that's not really a good look. Like looking at it now.
Yeah, maybe it's just because he like is constantly being surprised by her, so he didn't like want to get his hopes up though, because like I mean, let's face it, Tim not had a good track record with the rest of his rookies, so maybe he just really isn't
used to it.
Yeah, like he's just not used to it. Like I don't know if it's so much about Lucy, but yeah, it's still something that kind of like bugged me a little, because Angela just like handed the jersey off to Jackson and was like, Tim had this made for Lucy, but since essentially like since that didn't work, so you have to wear it. Like, really?
I thought that it kind of fit for Jackson to get that score because like rewatching these episodes, like the previous day, or the previous episode, like Angela had him doing his plainclothes day again. Like he was driving. He was asking the question of like, why did you become a cop? Like that would be enough for me, someone who has test anxiety, to like completely get psyched out and like totally forget what I was studying. Like, so it kind of fit, I guess, like rewatching it, I was like, okay, that makes sense. Like he was so in his head and like focused on what he was doing the day before that, like he probably, I mean, well, and we even saw it like later in the episode too. Like he was telling Lucy, he just thought that he had it in the bag because there was also that time jump too. So, just didn't like study as hard or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. It was just something that I just like was thinking about because I hadn't watched this episode in a long while. Yeah, and so oh my god, the scene in the shop, though, like their first scene, Nolan and Gray in the shop, too funny because like it brought me back to I think it was 110. I think with the like, do I look like a game show host to you? Like that one cracked me up, and like this one cracked me up too because John is just like, can I ask you a personal question? And Gray, I mean, like he gives him a warning. He's like, if you think it's wise, but John just keeps going. He's like, do things bother you less now? And he's like, no, you're just as annoying as before. And then John just keeps going. Like he's not deterred by
all the roasting that he gets.
Yeah, like he's not deterred by anyone like disliking him, which I mean, the man's got some confidence. That's for sure, because he just keeps going and asks if like feeling everything gets easier to like handle. And I enjoyed this scene because of like Gray's mention of like the analogy about how like your body protects itself. Like Nolan's been demoing his house, so his hands have calluses. In that same way, like so does your mind protect you from things. So it's a theme that I appreciated that they included in this episode because like I don't really feel like the mental, I mean, I know Lucy's a big like, you know, mental health advocate, and like I know it's mentioned on the show, but just like the feelings part, like emotions about being a cop, were interesting for them to include in here. And poor Nolan got food spilled on his shirt though when like they went to the restaurant that Mark Cuban was at, because he guest starred in this episode, and that's why they had to go to the uniform shop in the first place. So if Nolan hadn't have gotten food spilled on him, then the whole fake cops storyline probably wouldn't have been a thing. But
Well, they also had to pick up like a uniform for Greg, because he put in for like a second
oh, that's
uniform.
true. He did put
Yeah.
in for dress blues.
And then Nolan just
Right.
needed a shirt or whatever.
True. And I love how Gray just like at the very last second like mentioned to Nolan like you're supposed to carry an extra uniform shirt in your war bag. Just one extra like little chance to like remind Nolan of something that he should have done.
And Nolan's just like, yeah, but I just got assigned to short sleeves, so I don't have a backup. I'm like, keep just sticking up for yourself here. I mean, you probably should have like ordered 2 to begin with. So, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And like Jennifer, I know you had mentioned the like Jessica and John scene that she like pulled him out of roll call essentially. I just like it was just so weird because like she literally just like went right into it, and she was just like, so why didn't you call me back? And he was like, well, because I went to sleep or whatever. And she's like, but what about in the morning? I'm like, oh my God. Like, what in the world? Like, that was some like Lifetime movie shit. I was just like, lady, like, you need to calm down a little bit. Like, I don't know.
Like he's busy.
Yeah, like he has stuff to do. And just like, I mean, things were already kind of awkward though, because like they had like earlier in the episode like zoomed in on John's face when he watched Jessica on the phone, and like she was laughing, and that was kind of a big like part of the reason why he didn't actually like he hesitated and didn't call her back the night before. But still though, just like for her to just like openly just be like, so why didn't you, like, I don't know, which is why I liked the scene that they had next though, when like they discussed how John kind of feels more like a rookie than ever when it comes to feeling all the feelings, whereas Jessica's able to sort of tune it out, because then it like shows how different they are, but then there's like a willingness of them to try to understand each other, sort of, which was nice. And it was also nice to hear Jessica being like a concerned girlfriend for John, because like I don't know, it just like it was a nice tie-in, because like we saw Jessica being able to like separate all her feelings out, but then like when it came to John, she's like, okay, no, I'm actually like gonna be concerned and like vocalize this concern. I don't know. Yeah, so I liked those scenes. One scene that I could have like, well, I shouldn't say the whole end scene for them, because I liked how he kind of gave a recap of his 6 months on the job and like said that he can't go numb. It's not who he is. It's not who he wants to be. But I could have lived without the like Jessica being like, "Oh, I just fell in love with you a little," and then like them not running off to have sex. I'd be fine without that. That's just me though. I did enjoy the like comedic moment though of like I think it was the door knob or like something like breaking off, and John's just like trying to fix it, and he's like, "Oh, forget it." Like,
yeah, he kept like trying to close the door and it kept popping back open.
yeah.
I just love how like John like looked back at his house and he was like, this can wait. Skirt, like, you know, it was like the Bugs Bunny. Like, let me just like like get ready to run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he like zoomed out of his house. He's like, fuck that. So yeah, but I mean, I know their relationship eventually ends. I was glad that he got to at least have some kind of soundboard to like talk through all these like, you know, 6-month marker kind of issues that were on his mind though. So
yeah,
that was good.
I mean,
I
I
feel
don't know. I think his relationship with Jessica just kind of like made him like open his eyes a little bit more to like being a cop,
Mhm.
but it wasn't my fave. Nikki, do you have any more thoughts that you want to share? Any more parallels that you would like to hurt us with?
I can't think of any right this second. Nothing. I just never get tired of rewatching the show. I really,
Yeah.
and every single time you find something new.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yep. You pick up on something new no matter how many times you've watched it. And it's like, wait, why did I not pick up on that before? But yeah, I mean, this was a chaotic episode that we just did, but it was fun. I mean, if you guys want, you can find us on Twitter. Like if you haven't followed us already, like go ahead. We're gonna share some more chaotic stuff for sure. But you can find us on Twitter at the Shop Talk Pod _ or email us all of your thoughts at shoptalktherookiepodcast@gmail.com. You can find us individually on Twitter as well. I'm at jstarcade04.
I'm at Kari Hyman.
And I'm at Halstead Sass with an I.
And yeah, like we'll be back in 2022 covering 410 and the chaos that's going to happen. And we might have, I wonder if we've manifested Oscar Hutchinson like hurting Wesley Evers.
I'm manifesting him driving or crashing the plane rather in the middle of the road.
Either way, I feel like Oscar is a really big part in this episode.
Oh, for sure.
We're gonna be in for a ride, but no matter what. Anytime he's on the scene, guaranteed.
And it's
Sure.
starting off with the bang on January 3rd. Like, you know, we're just starting 2022 with all of the chaos that the rookie will provide. So
It's almost here.
almost it'll fly by. Like we've already made it through one weekend without the rookie. We'll
True.
be good. But yeah, we'll talk to everyone in the new year. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Go get him, boo.